Hi, I am doing my response on chapters 1 through 3 of the clay text. And this is a text that's very exciting to me. Um, I agree with so much from the first 3 chapters already. I teach fourth grade, and there are a lot of takeaways that I feel like is the big reason I'm in this program to begin with. I see errors in some of the takeaways that I mentioned. So I'll go ahead and talk about that and connect it to what I'm seeing in my own school and my own classroom. So the first chapter takeaway I chose is that the high progress students get a lot more opportunities than the low achieving. And I feel like that is something that happens just kind of naturally. It's a lot easier to progress students along than it is to remediate. So I agree with this wholeheartedly, and I feel like this is something that I am greatly working on. While I want to enrich those students, I also want it to be more of an equal playing field. I want more of a systematic approach to meet the students' needs that are lower achieving. I want to team with my Title I service and learn more about how to support my own students in the classroom instead of passing it on to them and saying they've got it and kind of checking it off my list. To do that in my classroom, I would like to start doing what chapter 1 mentioned, which is the systematic observations. And I can see that very clearly in a guided reading or in a word study lesson, jotting those notes down and then choosing instruction based on what I'm seeing. So making it be observation based, assessment based, and definitely student based after that decision. In chapter 2, I had a big takeaway that every single time that we work on the reading or the writing, there should be a goal to improve. And the reason I chose that is because sometimes we just get into the monotony of following a curriculum and we take away the student based option of it. And I feel like I could become a lot more goal oriented with my students if I would just record some of those observations, share the observations with my students, have them set some goals independently, like chapter 2 talked about, having that independent drive and motivation in them, but they have to be aware of it. So if I have those observation moments and if I'm jotting those notes, I can help them improve every time they sit down to read or to write. And then my chapter 3 big takeaway is that after 40 years, we're still seeing the same problems. Yes, it mentioned that there are more interventions, there are more systems in place to support those problems. But there's still a big problem with how we use RTI services. The book mentions not allowing a student to receive services unless they're 2 years behind grade level. And that's an area that I see in my own school, in my own classroom, that I really struggle with. I have kids that are below, but I feel like if I had the skills and if I had the knowledge base, I could help close that gap myself. They wouldn't need to receive services, but I could still be making sure I'm closing the gap in reading and in writing. So I am working hard on doing more anecdotal notes. I want to do more small group or individual word study lessons that fit that student's gap in their phonics, or making sure that they have individualized instruction based on their need. And it may not be through services, it may be through something I can provide them with this knowledge. So those are my big 3 takeaways from chapters 1, 2, and 3.